Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 3-hour Wahoo series. I'm Nathan Garrett. This is Dave Toll next to me doing his research. It looks like still on the race out here today. And we are into race number 6 out on London for 2.5 laps, actually. Something interesting I noticed. I thought we were just out in London Loop today, but Box Hill is going to be taken on 3 times in the race today. We've got quite the series that's been heating up. As we jump right on into the racing, we will be covering the men's A Elite race today. And we've got 147 riders. You know, Dave, amazing. Even as the world starts to open up a little bit, and we have, this is a whole new type of season here that we're walking into with Zwift, because 147 racers on June 23rd, the longest day in the Northern Hemisphere, was yesterday, I believe, if I'm not incorrect. And we still have, 147 racers. Zwift is just blowing up with this racing.
It's incredible. It really is. And I'm looking, Nathan, I was just noticing that the Argentinian races are starting to really come to the fore. We have Leandro Messinio. I'm wondering, what is the weather like in Argentina these days? I have to think that over the last couple of months, it started to become their winter there. But so Vigo Moore is in the field here. Zach Herod, he's on a roll right now. Zach and George, both of these guys coming out of England are going to be riders to watch for the Estalas team here today. James Barnes is back with us. Really strong field, but I think Zach Herod for sure, and Dan Fleeman, Dig Deep coaching rider, is with us. So Nathan, an interesting group. You're right, but a lot of new names.
Yeah, Zach Herod, I think, is definitely one to watch out for after
He's on
this
fire.
week. It's after this weekend. I mean, all those KOMs that he was going after, obviously, and then with an amazing finish out there yesterday. So, not yesterday, the day before on Sunday in stage number 3. So definitely be watching out for Herod out there today. So
yeah, we had quite a weekend with the Joe Martin race. That was
Joe Martin
awesome.
was absolutely great. Really, really awesome to do. And we are seeing a lot of riders from the series coming into, obviously, they've been getting really familiar in the community racing. So we're going to see what they can pull off out here today. Let's just take a quick look at the current standings, though, in this to give an idea of what is going to be happening. With this KOM after party, it kind of changes things up a little bit. You don't always see this, and so a lot of times you do have the racing a lot closer. But the time gaps, as you can see here, Andy Turner's going to be looking to defend that 30 seconds, a little under 30 seconds there. Andrew Hodden is there as well. James Barnes, 2 seconds. With the KOM here, George is going to be looking. Zach Herod is going to be looking as well to make up some time. He's almost a full minute back there from George Keelan. Rick Anderson, Neil Richard for 7th there. Simon Collard, it's going to be Daniel, John Rozic, and then Alistair Thomas. So that's the current situation here. A lot of time can be made up if anybody gets a good day on the bike or makes some early attacks. I think really everyone's going to be looking for that hang on over the top of Box Hill and then really put the pressure on the last time up.
Yeah, London Loop, 39K today. It's going to be, a lot of wild cards, I would say, Nathan, in the field here today. And especially with the riders that we know have form coming out of this weekend. They've had a day to rest. So it's going to be interesting. I got to give Turner credit, though. Andy Turner, the Zwift Carbon team, has done a tremendous job of building up this lead that he has in the series. It's his series to lose now, Nathan, for sure. And he's in good position, but he's going to face quite a challenge. I mean, can you make up 15 seconds out here on a good day today? Absolutely. I think if you can get the right mix of riders coming together. And here's our first attack, our host club. Thanks to Wahoo as well. Ride 3R in full effect. Here goes Gleason.
Gleason, he's been, 3R has been talking about him. Chat's been talking about him a lot as somebody to be watching out for, and this is exactly why. He's not scared to give it a go, and 3R likes to light things up. Swatton's going as well. Watch out for Mark. And as he goes across to Gleason, it looks like, and this looks like a coordinated attack, because Matt Hooker, he just kind of corrals the front, I think. I think his whole goal there was just say, I'll set 5 on the front while my teammates go ahead and push a solid 10 watts per kilogram to see what they can do. But Swatton, though, unable to get across. Gleason most likely going to back off just a little bit. Interesting to see. Are they just looking to fade climb, perhaps, with 11 seconds, 12 seconds? Maybe thinking they're going to hang on better over the top?
Well, you wonder here very early. It's going to be a long day, but obviously they have a plan. Nathan, I've learned to respect a team like 3R. They know what they're doing. And oftentimes, when you watch a portrait being painted, you're not exactly sure how it's going to turn out. But these guys have started with a very aggressive opener here. And I mean, remembering how hard it is to attack out of this group, Nathan, there's a lot of strong riders that would never even think about trying to attack out of this group at 4.8K in. Actually, that attack launched about a kilometer and a half ago, and they're continuing to pour it on out there right now. We're going to see what happens here in the early going as there's some big names with this. I think it's a great mix today, Nathan. It really is. When you look at the teams, there's no one dominant team. There's no one rider that you says comes in as a sure shot in any way. This one's pretty wide open. It really is going to be a great day.
Yeah, it is pretty wide open here. I mean, McGlinchey, he's been Here's a rider I have not seen as of recently, though. McGlinchey is in this field, but so is the Duck, Mr. Lionel Viassen out of Belgium.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. Wouldn't you say, Nathan? I haven't seen Lionel, the Belgian rider, with us for a month. Unless I missed him.
Perhaps taking a little bit of break, maybe focusing on some of the other races out there, perhaps. But Lionel Viassen jumping into the field here. I want to see where his form is at. I would not be surprised if he shows up and maybe fresh. We'll have to wait and see, and just absolutely blows up the field. Wow. They haven't had to race against Viassen as of recently, and it's interesting how, as we do get the tiers of racing changing up a little bit, and we have, community racing, pro-am racing, and then complete in real life pro races that are completely, only reserved for professional outdoor racers. I think Lionel and a few of the other teams out here that you could name, they kind of set themselves amongst the... I don't know. You kind of put like some GC contenders or some that are good at the classics in like a field of their own. Those who could win a world championship field. They're just kind of and I would put Lionel in that kind of a position personally, like, where he shows up to the race and everybody's watching him, if that makes sense. So I think watch out for Lionel on these climbs and see where he's at for his fitness though at this point, because we haven't seen him out here in quite a while.
100% agree with that assessment. I mean, he would be one of the most marked riders in Zwift history, to tell you the truth. Caleb Carl, Nathan, I'm seeing out here today. Wouter Zwart taking the start. Matt Brandt in this field. So, you look a little deeper, guys that maybe aren't sitting up in the top 10 in that overall, because 3R is a series, but some races will jump in just for the heck of it, just to get a good day of racing in. And that's, you start 147 guys, and you're going to end up these days with a real quality field. And I mean, Nathan, we're 7.1K in, and it is still a huge group. Talk to me about how challenging the London Loop is. Put it in the pecking order.
Yeah, so London Loop, I mean, it's a very, very difficult, it's kind of your... it's not the hardest course, but it's right up against it, because Box Hill is an all-out 5.5 to 6 minute effort, and anytime you get into that over 3 minutes or so, you're going to start dropping. Those who are just trying to find a wheel, they're going to start dropping off. You have to be able to match the fitness, match the efforts. They just will not make it. Exactly. And so Box Hill being in there 3 times, this is a very difficult course in that respect. But then from there, it's kind of a waiting game to watch for the next climb, because then you just kind of head on over to the flatter sections out of the escalator, which is a little bit of a bump, but usually anybody can hang on through that and back into the flats. So it's really just looking at Box Hill as it starts to rain down on the avatars here. Cooling them off maybe a little bit in the virtual world, but now we have an attack. Actually, Turner, this is your series leader going off the front, actually.
Andy Turner. All right. Well, this is a really good way to make a statement, Nathan. You want to talk about psychology of racing. If you come in as a series leader and you're willing to do this, obviously you're on either a good day or you're an incredibly good bluffer. And he's not bluffing, and he's got Fleeman going with him. All right. This is Dan Fleeman, the former Pro Tour hitter. These are two very strong. Nathan, heads up. We got ourselves a jailbreak early here. Is this really, do you think that these two want to ride to the finish line together, or are they dropping guys out of this group with the resulting chase here? Because this will do damage.
It will do damage. Here's the thing is that the level has gotten so high, and I've noticed the climbing changing out on Zwift in some ways. You used to be able to just go super hard like this, drop who you want, back off a little bit, and then go, and then kind of get into your tempo, which might be around 5 to 5.5 watts per kilogram. Fleeman continues to go. Fleeman might be looking to just set some sort of a crazy record up over the top here and see what he can do with it, as he's
got
obviously
great form.
amazing form here. He
was second in Joe Martin, and that was a very challenging 3 days of racing. I mean, that was really legit. And his effort and his team, the Saris Pro Closet, they're phenomenal. This is an interesting play here, especially taking the series leader with you. The best defense is a good offense, right?
I think the thing, yeah, that is very, very true, is that if you put everybody else on the back foot, they ain't catching you on time. That's for sure. Now, I think also, though, the way that the people are climbing nowadays, they're looking at how many are making the pace that you are setting, that everybody's willing to set amongst a group of riders, and knowing how the descents go. People are getting a lot smarter about how they climb. And when you go over the top with at least 5, maybe 6 riders, you know that a smaller group ahead is going to be coming back, so you can trust that.
Right.
Now, the moment it gets dangerous is when people start to drop, and your speed then, like as you drop riders, you better know that you're closing the gap or going with whoever's ahead, or because if once you let something go and then all of a sudden your pack diminishes and you go too hard, you're not bringing anything back. So there's another risky situation there. So a lot of times riders will kind of measure how much can they actually break people behind them, who can they bring with them to use. It becomes a very tactical situation on the climbing nowadays, because if you can't break the pack, it's not even worth it sometimes. But it looks like these boys are totally willing at this point.
Yeah, in this Machiavellian chess match, this might not be the kings and the queens on the chessboard, but it's the bishops and the rooks right now doing some damage. These are not pawns in the game, that's for sure. You know, a lot of times, Nathan, I mean, at this point now, when you're almost 10K in, you can't play around. Even if you want to show off and get what we call some TV time, you just can't do it. No one's going to be strong enough. These are legitimate. I mean, you're looking at the series leader, and he's got a pretty good advantage, almost 30 seconds back to second place, going with a guy who just finished on the podium at one of the hardest stage races that I've seen. And I would have to think, Nathan, there aren't too many races that have been much tougher than Joe Martin that we had on Zwift Community Live this last weekend. So there's no doubt that these are two of the most dangerous riders in the field. Now look at this, Nathan. It's really stringing out. So that's Ryan Kiesnowski that we're looking at now, the New Zealander, and a couple splits happening. Yep, damage being done here, major damage being done, Nathan. This is the result of chasing those two up the road. And is it 3? Did a rider just bridge? Well, let's see what we've got here. It looks like, Nathan, we've got a very dynamic situation happening here.
Yeah, we got a rider, Kyle here. Not a rider I'm super
kind
familiar
of
with coming across
back.
here. Yeah, it looks like they've been able to bring it across, and it was actually a move there coming from Venus Pro Cycling with Mr. Christopher Glinski shutting things down. Keeling went with it as well. Turner from Zwift Carbon now. And Turner definitely is going to be wanting to shut anything down that goes up ahead, it looks like. But more. It looks like Vigo Moore, Barnes here, but it's still stretched out. Look at this pack. It's gonna. I think it's still going to snap a little bit here, and we're going to get down to maybe 40 riders. I want to say. I mean, they start with 147. This is absolutely.
But I think you're right. I would use 40 as a really good guess is what we're going to have the next time that we can do some inventory here. Vigo Moore, the 17-year-old American on the Lux team racing out. Well, he's in Germany, right? I think he's still in Germany. Well, I'm going to have to find out. But Nathan, right now the race is being made. Quite a few guys are going to be paid out here. So you can see Vigo with the fastest time up over that King of the Mountain. This is based on the time that you have there from line to line, not based on your placing out there. As it looks like now, let's see what we've got here. Nathan, I'm going to try to get a look at how large this group is. It looks like maybe not even 40. Maybe a little bit less than that have made it now into the first selection of the day. First of a few, I'm going to think. Kisnowski made it. That's nice to see. Kershaw is there. McGlinchey, of course, is there. Scotty Weiss in the group. Christopher McGlinchey, danger man today. No doubt about it. The guy from Northern Ireland that has been so impressive out here, Nathan, over the last couple of months. Everybody's going to have their eyes on him as much as you would say for Dan Fleeman or our series leader, Andy Turner. I would say McGlinchey is that or Viasen, of course. I got to remember that Lionel is back with us.
Yeah, now it does look like, as you were saying, As far as how many have made it, and still some falling off. T. Conti here from Team ZF just barely getting back on terms. We're
What's
looking
crazy
at
is you
our
can get
Yao there
dropped
from
on the
Team
downhills.
Norvold. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, well, right about here, you're about
Only
to
on
get dropped to the
Zwift. Yep.
downhills. Tommy Ingers here just barely trying to hang on. 6.3 watts per kilogram behind just a moment here. As you can see, there's Tommy trying at 5.8 watts per kilogram to get back on terms. He's got to maybe even sprint just to grab a wheel here at this point because he is still getting dropped 400 watts right now. And it looks like he's just barely going to get back on terms with this as McKay there. It looks like McKay cycles here. Now, also right on that wheel. So we are looking at 43 riders. Dan J, along with the CryoGen rider here, we're the last ones to drop off the snap of the elastic on the back here, and Harris and a few others on the chase. But this is a situation where the split had happened. Plenty of riders here, like you would say, tickets punched. 42 making the front group. One on the first time over the top of Box Hill. 2 more times to go with the KOM after party, and they're showing us what kind of fireworks we're going to have.
You know, Nathan, now's a good time for me to mention it helps a ton if the riders are willing to put their names. I get it sometimes you want to use an alias, but like what Scotty Weiss is doing right there, your first initial with your last name, that helps a ton for not only us, but for people at home who are watching, try to identify the riders. Just a heads up out there. A request, if you will. As like George Mills Keeling. That's a rider that I have watched really grow in the world of Zwift here. A talented U23 rider out of the United Kingdom. Both he and his teammate Zach are going to be making an impact out here. We're watching Lionel Viasen again. So we're trying to connect the avatars that you're looking at to the actual riders. I mean, remembering that down in New Zealand, that's where Ryan Kisnowski is racing out of. One of the most biggest threats to win today, if it comes to any kind of a sprint, is going to be Leandro Messinillo racing out of Argentina. And then you're going to see a lot of Americans and British riders. So the United Kingdom really well represented here. But Nathan, this is a small group. They have done a lot of damage out here. You take a look around. Zach Herod is going to be a man to beat today, no doubt about it. Zwart and Wouter Zwart, I believe, are both in this group as well. I'd be stunned if Wouter Zwart got dropped after the riding he did this weekend as well.
Like, I'm loving the banter between the riders here in chat. They have their keyboards out and they're watching stream. Lionel just said they know we're going over the top of this thing 3 times, 2 more times, right? And McGlinchky responding to Lionel Viasen saying, I know, right? Good to see you back. So good to see over in the chat on Facebook. We also got some chat over on YouTube as well. Looks like Jay Saunders saying, Dan, he's talking about Fleeman there. He's got bags of energy left after sitting behind his team the other day. A little bit of joke here is he got a lot of support from Cyrus the Pros Closet in the Joe Martin stage race over the weekend. So we'll see what kind of energy Dan's got, though, after that kind of attack over the top. I mean, that was a pretty amazing push there, but they chased him down, interesting enough. He was pushing 7 watts per kilogram for quite a while, and then the group definitely came right on back up to him pretty quickly, though. Interesting to see.
It looked like Vigo and Christopher did a fair amount of that work on that chase back. But I hear you. I would have to say that Saris, the Pros Closet team, Nathan, they've got incredible depth and camaraderie, and they're just all on the same page. That is a really cool team. Team tactics matter out here just as much as they do out in real life. And the impact of that yesterday, or I keep saying yesterday, it was Sunday, the race wrapped up, but that team in orange and blue did a really, really good job.
Weekend. It was a long
weekend. It really
weekend.
was. It really was. We did, I would say we did 10 hours of broadcasting over a 48-hour period. Actually,
100%.
Which was,
Dan Fleeman
and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Only one from Stars to Pros Closet involved here. So that's interesting to see. I'm going to try and get an idea of what kind of teams are still represented here and what kind of support they're going to be seeing in order to try and keep things together. I think
Christopher is alone. The Vetus rider, McGlinchey, I don't think he has a teammate today. Mikey Motram didn't make the start, did he? I haven't seen his name. So he's really strong, but not with us.
Yeah, I
No
don't believe
one
Motrin's
team,
with
Nathan.
us today. I do not think any one team is really.
Aliens have a couple.
Dropouts. I believe the dropouts have Mike Schwarten here. Dean Cunningham is still made it from what I can see. And I'm also seeing Andy Turner. So the dropouts in support of Andy Turner out there still do have 3 riders, it looks like. Looking through Chasers. Now, this is Chasers is a team that I noticed in the start list that I have not seen out here a whole lot. Not super familiar, but Christian Moxon. You gotta watch out for them as they're suddenly popping up on the radar here as a new team in and amongst the groups here. I'm also seeing Eastalis, obviously, but that's only with 2 riders, George
Well,
Mills
there you go.
Keelan
That's
as
the
Zach
one
Harrod.
team. And George Mills Keeling. Those 2 are really 2 strong guys. I know I've mentioned them already today, but they're going to be a part of the story. Nathan, the finish line at 39K-ish out there. It'll be an uphill finish today, it sounds like. So there'll be one last really hard push to the line, but these guys are going to sort things out again. I would expect a few guys are going to find themselves in trouble the next time up over Box Hill.
Yeah,
Caleb
I have a
Carl.
feeling you're correct. And Caleb Carl, I want to have a chat about this rider, that's for sure.
Yeah,
he
please
had
do.
a
Great job.
breakout ride on the last day of the Joe Martin stage race, and I was super impressed with his finesse and also putting finesse kind of on the radar. You know, I've raced against finesse for quite a long time, and they've been playing second fiddle a little bit for a while, I think, and I think Caleb Carl had put them on the radar as a team to watch out for, not to take, no joke, that's for sure. And they've been taking the esports racing super seriously. They're in Discord channels. They're chatting about what to do, when, how, where. If you're ever watching Johnny Rocket, he live streams. He's been one of the longest time live streamers, actually. He's on Facebook Gaming, and he has done. You watch his streams and you can see all the communication, the leadership, and who's going where, when, and they kind of just control the races. Even without the result, they kind of do it in this way that is like practice. It looks like in a lot of the races that they're showing up, and they're very well-oiled machine. And I think Carl did an amazing job saying, "No, finesse is here to play at the front of these races." So very cool to see him making this group here now again.
Isn't it great, Nathan, when you see a team having that trajectory, right? Where, they've been working hard and they finally start getting those big results. Because I had Caleb Carl as second in a stage this weekend. It might have, he took a silver, didn't he? And that was a huge moment for that team. We haven't mentioned Mike Cuming yet as well, the Rowan King rider. He's going to be a dangerous person when we get down. I'm looking to make sure he's still in this group, but he almost has to be. He comes in so strong, although you never know these days either, do you? A lot of things can happen out there along the way. And we look at, though, at the sort of the rhythm of this race is clearly going to be a ramping up to the bottom of Box Hill one more time. All these guys realize it's going to be another brutal trip up that climb.
Yeah, and real quick little question coming on in. Great question coming in from chat here. Are they going from right to left on the elevation map? And actually, I believe that there's a good catch there from Rob M. And I believe that they are. It may be because they are using distance on the day instead of laps. So interesting enough to see, but that's a good catch by Rob M. As you can see, the direction of the little orange marker in the upper right-hand corner is actually pointed to the left there. So nice catch there, Rob M. Good to see you in chat there. Caleb Carr is streaming this race now. Yep, and Caleb is over on Twitch. I did follow him just the other day. As I was in a race with him, and I wanted to watch another perspective of racing from, and he was doing some awesome tunes. Actually, the guy jams tunes, that's for sure. And I think
where does
he's got some pretty
lie?
good. It lies a lot of who am I thinking here? I think. Oh man, we're going back to the '90s, but some good alternative rock there from the '90s. It seemed like a lot of
Dave
it,
Matthews Band.
No. We're talking
Sublime?
more Black Hole Sun kind of.
Sure,
we're
like
talking
Nirvana, the Seattle sound.
Yeah, more of
maybe.
A Seattle sound. Yeah, Chris. Come on, Nathan.
Chris
may
Cornell.
rest in peace. Chris Cornell. Thank you very much.
Right.
May rest in peace. But Chris Cornell type Audio Slave. Kind of stuff going on there. It seemed like so. I was digging it. That's for sure. So Caleb Carl, definitely check him out over on Twitch. Especially if you like the listening.
Lionel Viassen is a huge Neil Diamond fan. If he's Belgian, anyways, I think everybody in Belgium loves some Neil Diamond. Which I'm just kidding, but They played it every night in the Velodrome when I was there.
Oh my
Well, we play it
goodness.
every night at Fenway, or they play it every night at Fenway, right? It's a good crowd sing-along song, I guess is a good way to put it. I'm happy to see Lionel back out here. It's been a long time. I'm sure the other guys are happy if they want to get better at bike racing, because he's going to push everyone in this race a little bit deeper today. As let's take another. Oh, it's Howell.
Hi, Will
Huel,
Davies,
excuse
very,
me.
very
Yep.
strong rider, that's for sure. He says 4 strong in the BRT pack. And from what I'm hearing, actually,
Thank you,
hearing
Huel. Yep.
Moxon is actually riding for BRT out there today. His second team is the Chasers, so be on the watch out for BRT. I think they have definitely been a force here. That is a team.
Yeah,
Thanks
we
a lot for
missed
the
that.
reminder there.
Yeah.
I definitely missed that because BRT is one of the strongest teams. Be on the watch out for them. Another team that, as of recently, has really stepped up and been showing their results in the Zwift racing as well. So, again,
Good
though,
catch.
with the mix-up, there's been a new mix of riders, as you were saying. I mean, East Allis was not on the radar 6 months ago at all. They were not anywhere. And all of a sudden, there's this new
Unheard
team,
of, yeah.
and now Zach Harrod winning the Joe Martin this weekend. I mean, in the final, at least the final stage. I mean, pretty amazing. So. Lots of change-ups because of how much new blood there is.
I mean, Nathan, if we did this race exactly a year earlier, right, 147th starting today in this A field, if you had 70, it would have been surprisingly high, right?
Yeah,
Or
100%.
about-
In the middle of summer,
yeah.
having 70 riders show up in an A category race would have been absolutely just blown
Amazing,
away by
actually.
it.
Right, yeah.
So whole new time at this point. So now we're gonna be taking a left-hand turn though. Fleeman make his way to the front. The racing is starting to go for positions here. It is going to be kind of that moment where they start thinking about where am I going to position. Don't want to be too far back. Start looking for the front of the pack. They'll start fighting for position a little bit more here. We might see the wattage ramp up, back off, and float around, and then back. We'll have to see who goes on the attack first after we head out of the underground.
It's almost 2 bike races in one. You race to get to this point, but now you've established, who the contenders are and who the pretenders were. And then you now move into the phase of you can't really afford to miss a step. If you're going to attack, it's going to have to be really calculated and well-timed, and you're probably going to need to collaborate with other riders to make something like that work. There's not a whole lot of teammates out here, as we mentioned, BRT with 4. But other than that, you're lucky if you've got another guy on your side with you out here. As we drop down now, and this point is where you really have to grip it, because you know that we're going to be making a big effort now for the next 15 minutes or so here. So you're not going to win the race here, but you certainly could lose it. You're not going to get back into this group if you get dropped on Box Hill.
Exactly. It's always kind of what's looming in your head, even before you sign up for a Box Hill race or Leith Hill. Like these hills,
It's pretty ominous,
out on
isn't it?
London.
Yeah.
You're out in Surrey Hills. Surrey Hills are kind of like these. I mean, barring like the KOM over on Watopia, out the Zwift, things like that, or maybe the climb in Innsbruck. Barring some of those climbs, you're kind of like, this is where you're thinking about whether or not when you sign up for the race. Oh, am I going to get dropped? Am I going to be all alone? I just need to survive that climb is a lot of times what you're thinking. And as you see them backing off the 3.8 watts per kilogram, everyone obviously setting up now, getting the energy reserves ready to go.
Yeah, Nathan, you make a really good point where even the strongest riders still have that fear of getting dropped. And that's what makes cycling, especially at the elite level, such a beautiful sport, because you really are exposed out there. You're only as good as your last race. And it's what makes racing different than riding. You know what I mean? I mean, anybody can ride a bike, and it's great. Not that many people are cut out for doing this. And it's even another much smaller group that have the ability to ride in this group. And when you start making selections out here, it goes to a whole other level. And I love it, Nathan. This is the best racing of all. We've got a really good course, a strong field, and some hungry riders. Guys, let's get it on. That's the turn. And now you can hear the whip cracking there as there's going to be riders saying, that's it. We've got our first rider. It looks like we're going to see him move off the front here. Nathan, get ready for an absolute barrage over the next 10 minutes.
Zach Harrod going off the front now. As you can see, we were talking about what kind of fitness he's coming in after the stage race this weekend. And there he goes, 10, 11 watts. That's a full-on attack here. Maybe not a full-on sprint necessarily, but when you're doing like what I like to call micros or lactate tolerance reps over and over again, that's the kind of effort. That's like a zone 7 effort that he did there. 600 to 700 watts for a moment there. Holding that gap. 4 seconds he's gone out with. See, Weiss trying to go across. Turner's going as well. So this is a threat, that's for sure. Nobody wants to let this go. And what he's doing here is he's looking to bring riders across. He goes solo, and if they stay together, they'll catch him on the downhill. But he's instigating them to come across and form a real elite group.
He's trying to set the hook, if you know what I mean. Get a couple guys. Weiss wants to. It's just so hard at this point now. Zach Harrod is golden. He's got unbelievable form right now. I love seeing him try to use it here. But again, we're halfway into this race, really not even, because we got a lot of climbing to do before we get to the finish, but it's starting to thin out on the front. All right.
We
better rock up here.
We saw a comment come on in from BJ Alfonso there, actually, the manager of PTZ, and he recently did some recruiting of some in-real-life pro riders to his team. So good to see PTZ here toward the front, sitting in about third wheel with Jimmy Kershaw, so level 27 Zwifter. He did the 3R Watopia Flat yesterday, actually, with the third place. He took a win in Zone 2, it looks like, in the WTRL team time trial. So PTZ is very strong.
His teammate Daniel Ricardo, the other Portuguese rider, the Portuguese rider on that team, is right here as well. Great job, PTZ.
Yeah, PTZ, one of the longest standing kits in game, actually. You'll actually,
oh, really?
I wonder if they changed it up or not. I'll have to take a quick little look here. And I think that they did. I think they had a new design that came onto it. It used to have the Vision logo actually on it, but as we were in partnership with them very early on. So PTZ, one of the very longest standing teams. Now, Ricardo getting the mention. There he goes.
Yes. So this is the Portuguese rider we were just talking about, taking a dig now. And all right, Nathan, this is the kind of move that does some damage here. Again, let's see who responds. Is it Weiss going up to join him? Or maybe Turner, actually. I apologize.
Yeah, it looks like Zach Harrod and Weiss are off the front at this point, but it's going to be Ricardo as well as Zwift Carbon Pro, which is going to be Turner trying to go across with Ricardo. He's holding on to the wheel. There is a draft on a 5% gradient. It's not a lot, but it's enough that you can kind of sit in at about maybe 0.2 to 0.3, but less on the watts per kilogram and kind of fluctuate there a little bit. 6 seconds, though. They've got a gap here, and this is a group of 4 you don't want to let go. This is a threat, that's for sure.
Yeah, the 4 riders of the apocalypse, I would say, because these 4 guys, if they work, that is not a large group behind them. A couple more riders strong riders decide they want to go across a bridge. That might be the tipping point here. Very dangerous moment. It looks like Caleb Carl is recognizing that. All of these guys will hear the alarm bell ringing right now, Nathan. This is a strong 4-rider group. We haven't really had this happen in a while, and here we go. It looks like, I think it's going to be Kyle going across now, and Caleb Carl possibly.
Caleb Carl looking to follow this up.
Wow, they're
Kyle
blowing this group to bits, Nathan.
Well, Kyle here coming out of Canada. This is not a rider that I'm seeing on Zwift Power. Interesting enough, though, coming from Kyle here. So without the Zwift Power registration, from what I can see. Oh, no, there he's here. Well, no, I'm looking at Kyle McKay Cycles in 37th place last check-in. So I'm going to keep on looking through for a Canadian flag here, but they may let this rider go at a certain point. Now, if he gets involved, though, at the front end of the race, they will not let him go. If he gets off the front, they may say no go.
There goes George.
But Ricardo here and this 4 with Weiss, Harrod, as well as Turner, and that's going to be the series leader on GC off the front. So Kershaw is going to want to chase this down. Caleb Carl, Hurdle, George Mills, Keenly. Look at the split again taking place now. Wow. Fleeman, we're seeing Team Novo Nordisk here with Yo coming out of France. Cunningham's been dropped on Medici. Oyer coming from SZ. Wood. This is some serious firepower that's been dropped off here. So again, 4 riders here, snapped off the back. This is the second time over the top, and they still have this lead group of 4. They will be caught, though. Vyasen sitting in pretty at 180 beats per minute. Vyasen at 180, you know things are hurting.
And that arch is going to be very close to where our finish line will be in about a lap, correct?
100%, 100%. Now,
Right.
again,
So note that.
based on distance though. So it's
Right,
going to be
right.
right
So
around the KOM.
So, from what I learned, and again, I'm the novice here, but I believe you'll see that finish a little bit before that arch. So, these guys will know. We've talked a lot about this weekend about the in game. They can see things that we can't from this perspective. But just to let everyone know, we're about a lap away from the finish, but it's a big lap out here on the London Loop. 39 total K today, and it finish line this morning. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, it's a good little. Jay Saunders was doing the. So there are multiple zones for the 3-hour race. You can do the race throughout the day. I believe they do 4 different zones for this, so that everybody in the world can get a little bit of taste, and it isn't only serving the time zones for the UK and UK evening as well as America's afternoon is what this time zone's serving. But there's a morning one, and obviously just over the top, not at the actual KOM banner, but just over the top when the climbing ends and it goes flat, which is actually a kind of a cool spot to finish, in my opinion. I always like the finishes that are KOM finishes.
Banner there. Yeah.
I don't like it when it flattens out and you have to sprint. I like it like, let's just climb to the finish line if we're going to have a climb to the finish line. That's my favorite kind.
One of the beautiful things about Zwift is what you can do that you're not reliant upon the infrastructure of the real world. And typically, they have to put the KOM finish up where there's a little bit of a parking pullout because you're going to have officials and timing and scoring and fans there and everything. So you can't do it where there's no parking available unless it's a really small race. But on Zwift, we can do all kinds of cool things that wouldn't be even imaginable in real life. Here we go. Downhill run here back into London. Hitting speeds close to 80 kilometers per hour. A lot of super tucking, of course. You're crazy not to be.
Yeah, lots of super tuckiness. We do see Schwartz was almost dropped off the back for just a moment there, I believe, as well as Vyastin still at the back. Look at how strung out this still is. Usually when you're descending through these sections, you don't really get this kind of a long line. It bunches up a little bit more. Now you do see it starting to bunch up, but obviously the attacks were on. Walter Zwart off the front a little bit. Landis Trek making a little bit of a dig, trying to get the speeds high. Still over 79 kilometers per hour, as you can see. And Vyastin now making his way to the front. We're going to have one more time over the top of Box Hill. Not a whole lap, though, everybody, as that is going to be the finish. KOM after party here out in London as we are looking at Vyastin. Will he have another win in his first stream back here over on the Zwift Community Live? He's obviously most likely been streaming some of his indoor training. He does have his own YouTube and Twitch channels. So interesting thing, everybody. I don't know if you guys are following the streaming world, just as a little tidbit as things calm down out here. Yesterday, if you haven't seen the announcement, there was a kind of crazy announcement that does definitely impact the live streaming world. And Mixer shutting down and selling over to Facebook Gaming. So interesting enough to see. You may see some changes in how everybody is kind of interacting with the landscape. So Facebook Gaming picking up the entirety of what Mixer was bringing and pointing over to them. July 22nd will be the last day of the Mixer website functioning. So be on the watch out for a lot of partners coming on over from Mixer automatically into Facebook Gaming. They get an automatic partnership actually over at Facebook Gaming. And
is that good or bad for us, Nathan? In our world here,
we have a lot of decisions. There's who knows? It's a disruptive time, and I think everybody should kind of watch the cards and see how they settle. And I think those who don't make rash decisions right now will end up benefiting the most. Make decisions, make actions, keep working if you're in live streaming. But don't go all in, if that makes sense, without kind of seeing how the chips fall. You can make this. I mean, obviously, we saw yesterday, one last thing on that. Yesterday, you saw en masse of Mixer streamers go right over to Twitch almost immediately because they're like, why should I invest here any longer? And that's the main gaming platform, and it was a gaming platform. But, now I think now you're going to start seeing, where are things going to land as far as some of the other bigger streamers, because Ninja and Shroud, they haven't made announcements yet, and they were paid millions to move to Mixer. Anyways, that's a whole nother side point that we could have an entire broadcast about.
Hey, let me ask Nathan, if possible, if we could take a quick look at our top 10 in the 3R series here. I don't know if you have that at your fingertips or not, but thank you. So, Andy Turner in this group, Hawden is in this group, Barnes is in this group, George Mills Keeling is here, Zach Herod is here. So, our top five, Nathan, are all in this group that we're looking at right now. Andy Turner has to be pretty happy with this situation, right? He's down to basically one trip up Box Hill now. I can't see him giving up 30 seconds, so he should make it into our final for the series in the overall lead.
What I want to know is what Zach Herod is going to do. Because you saw him over this last. I think he was trying to break things, like break somebody. He's got a minute to make up on George Mills Keeling. George Mills Keeling and James Barnes are going to be marking Zach Herod as much as they can, and Hawden will as well. A minute, though, is just maybe too much. But giving him any time with one race to go, you don't want to give him a second. A guy like Zach Herod, right? So you're going to really be watching each other. Exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
So, there's also reality as Barnes. Barnes is going to want to be bringing time back, though, as well on Hawden and make time on Keeling. I mean, these guys are all going to be marking each other.
Yeah, so if you're just joining us, this is in a weird way, it's a series that's sort of a stage race because there's no bonuses along the way, but we do keep track of time. The lowest time is going to be your leader when you add them all up. And right now, that is Andy Turner. He was in a breakaway earlier. He's obviously got good legs today, Nathan, but this would be dangerous. Christopher McGlinchey attacking now. Clearly a huge threat for the win here. This is going to be interesting.
Barnes, why? Chris, don't do this to us. They are absolutely suffering after going over the top there, and they're coming into the lap line. They're talking about trash can in it. I mean, I think everyone is talking about how much this is hurting at this point, and McGlinchey gives it a go, obviously loving to suffer. This is so great to see.
Well, and he's a huge talent. 10 seconds now. Nathan, I think this is fun. The chips just went into the middle of the table with a big splash. This is going to be the Northern Ireland rider that is so strong. Without any doubt, he's going to put them into the hurt box here. Not saying he's going to win. Right now, I would even give him much higher than an average rider's chances, of course. So let's say, I mean, you'd be generous at a 1 in 3 chance of winning out of this attack. But it's McGlinchey. Remember, he's nowhere in the top 10 in the overall here. So he's not a danger man to Andy Turner. Andy Turner can let him go up the road. He doesn't have to chase. This actually helps Andy Turner.
They don't even care. I mean, they're like, whatever, we're so done. 18 seconds, take it.
Yeah. That's nice to not take the bait. A lot of these guys, I think, are being smart here because they don't need to win the day. You don't want to give up a top 5 in the overall, blowing up, trying to chase McGlinchey and let all the other riders, punch your ticket. That's not ideal. So this is a very well-timed strategic masterpiece from Christopher here. I tell you what, that rider cracked the code. Nathan, can he do it? What do you think? He's got about 7K to go, but a lot of it is climbing on Box Hill.
Now we have another attack here coming from Weiss. Vigo Moore going to go ahead and chase down Weiss. It looks like Moore unable to respond fully though. Now they're starting to say, okay, going across, and they want to get involved in a breakaway situation. This is really fun racing now. Not just waiting for Box Hill. They're starting to attack early out here. Weiss continues to go. He'll get across, it looks like, to McGlinchey and work together with him. Hurdle is there as well. This is a rider I'm completely unfamiliar with. Good to see a new rider, some new blood amongst the field. Hurdle from SURC. Interesting to see 8.6 watts per kilogram coming from him. Let me see if I can pull up some information on this rider.
Oh, wow.
Interesting to see. We'll see if he's.
This is your new Harry Mustard, right? Breakthrough rider of the day. Hurdle.
Ali Hurdle, not a sprinter, it says. Favorosimo Uno to Zwift. Tax Flux, it looks like, with the Garmin 520 if needed. So he's talking about having dual recording, it looks like. Level 20
he's
Zwifter.
Taking it serious.
Friday Criterium Spring Race Series with a win, too. And that's a no joke in the A category. The Friday Criterium puts on a pretty good series, actually. So 4.8 watts per kilogram. Good to see Ali out
now
here.
We know Ollie. Certainly be watching for him. That's how you make your mark, my friend. So, Nathan, taking a look at this one. It's getting gritty out here now. It looks like the accelerator's down on the floorboard. We're going to just leave it there, I think, for the next 5.4 4K or so until this one is done and dusted. You can see the strong riders moving to the front. The Belgian Viassen is there. There's Caleb Carl. We talked about his breakthrough ride this weekend. He's piling it on now. Looks like he's going to get another good result today. We're still hanging in there with Ollie Hurdle, impressing us here as we move into the finale. There goes Wouter Zwart out of Phoenix, Arizona for the Landis team. Andy Turner, our leader now for Zwift Carbon. He's sitting there in the green jersey, the man to watch. A lot of things pivoting off of him right now. And this is Scotty Weiss that we're locked in with here. But the front's going to be pretty volatile right now, Nathan. Interesting how you want to play your cards out here.
Things have calmed down just a little bit here. Pink jersey on the back here. No, not Novo Nordisk. Maybe that's a lapped rider. No, it's not. Interesting to see. There's a pink kit. And I do not believe I'm not sure where that rider suddenly came from. He's not in the start here, or in the riders nearby list. So maybe a lapped rider perhaps, but McGlinchey now sitting in pretty.
You are hurting if you're a lap down on this course. You are not on your good day.
Not a good day at all. McGlinchey here now, 2.8. Walter Zwart sitting at the back here, as you can see.
I would be a lap down, Nathan. I would be a lap down, to be honest. But it's all right. Well, here we go. These are the men that have made it to this point.
20.
Nathan,
20 in total from what we're looking at that are on Zwift Power. 20 in total.
And when Nathan says that, for folks that are new to racing out here in our Zwift Community Live platform, really it's the Zwift Power is how we validate. And if they're not doing that, we're not saying that what they did is fake or impossible, but it can't be validated. And we used a trust and verify. Right, Nathan? Is that fair to say here? Is like we're just asking that they comply to a few of these safeguards as far as just validating the data that they're pushing through onto Zwift. It's pretty 100%. Much that simple.
100%. Exactly. That's it essentially says, and this is the way, and the reason being is that's not our, we comply with that, we support that, and we work with the organizations that use Zwift Power.
Exactly.
So Zwift Power is what the organizations are using. So the decisions on that, we're broadcasters, we're commentators, we produce this stuff, we help lead in that space to say where, what, and how we find some of the best organizations that are putting on the racers. But the organizers of the race are the ones that are using Zwift Power, and it's been built up as a community resource thanks to the KISS Racing team early on with James Hodges as well as Glenn Knight, putting that together. And, being a tool that's been around for 3.5, 4 years at this point, that's where people go to verify the racing. And that it's not just the people, it's the organizers that have done that. And so we follow along with what they're up to as 3R uses that to verify them. So that's why we speak about it in that way.
Yeah, very well put, Nathan. And for the racers, from their perspective, they want a level playing field. And this is the best that we can really offer is with Zwift Power. We're as close as we can get to making sure that everybody's playing fair out here. So
from a community side of things, there's other things going on that Zwift are working on alongside of, alongside of the efforts of Zwift Power for sure as well. Right. So in order to develop the next steps and the next level of premier type leagues and everything, as we see coming out of a lot of the Zwift Live productions, as we head in though to the final time over the top of the London Box Hill KOM after party. We are not finishing up on the lap banner. We are finishing up just before the KOM banner at the top. It sounds like we are finishing up on the flatter sections, actually right around where the climbing stops out here today. These riders are looking at about 5 minutes of absolute suffering for the win.
Yeah, you can't dig any deeper than they do in these efforts. It is insane what happens. Nathan, the point was made this weekend, and I had a few riders giving me feedback on how true that was about how you can dig deeper in the world of Zwift when you're racing because you know you're not going to pass out and crash on your bike. And it allows these athletes to make these superhuman efforts. There's nothing
is bike racing hard? Dave, is bike racing hard? Because I know I'm not going to die and pass out. So from passing out, so I can go that much harder. I mean, that is quite the statement about how hard bike racing is.
It is that hard. It really is. I mean, there's nothing in the world brings more out of you. I've always thought the bicycle is the ultimate way to look at the fitness that someone has. If you want to know where you're at compared to your next door neighbor, go do a 20-mile bike ride. with them, and you'll see very, very quickly.
The only ones I would think have a little bit of maybe a one up or an argument against that there would be the cross country skiers. Cross country skiers. Yeah, the full body, that full body, everything.
And it requires form. You can ride. I mean, look at Chris Froome on a bike, right? Anybody can pedal a bike. It becomes efficiency and beauty are different things, I suppose. But in cross country skiing, if you don't do it right, you don't do it well at all. But let's take a look at what's going on here. You called it, Nathan. Zach Herod throwing down the gauntlet early. If you can't hang with Herod, you're not winning a bike race today. This is a statement attack, Nathan. All right, I'm not saying this is the race-winning move, but he is going to suss out the riders that came to play. It's going to be Zwart, Fleeman. I'm expecting to see Vyas, Kershaw, George Mills Keeling, his teammate, sitting right there. All right, regulators, mount up, because here we go. Box Hill in full effect. Lionel Vyas is coming, Nathan. The Belgian rider is on a good day.
Yeah, 9.2 watts per kilogram coming from Vyas here, coming from the back of the split, actually, here. George Mills Keeling's falling off here now as Weiss now makes his way to the front. Now, from bottom to top, you need to be all in with these kinds of attacks here. It probably will set out, well... Okay, so this initial attack will split things up. It'll put people on the back foot. They have to chase down at a higher watts per kilogram than probably 6 watts per kilogram, and then at that point, their heart rates are already through the roof. So this is most likely going to be your split group. And Hawden is in the second place overall, is suffering
Ollie.
At this point.
Look at Ollie
go. Not going to be able to make it, it looks like here as Ollie Hurdle comes over the top and hurdles over your second place overall. It looks like the left-hand turn, a little bit of a draft here, and then we're going to bump right back on up into that 6, 7, 8% gradient, as we do have Turner now, your leader, trying to hang on to this incessant pace that Herod and Weiss are setting at the front. Bottom to top, you can attack like this and just break your competitors because you don't care. The finish line is when you stop climbing.
Yeah, I mean, but you're also going to see riders blowing up like a supernova as well. Only the strong survive. Again, we're checking back in with Estella's rider, Zach Herod here. The Englishman looking good. I mean, he took this group. I'm surprised to see that many guys still in contention out here, to tell you the truth, Nathan. I thought Herod would be down to about 5 chasing. There's still a little bit more than that, but they're going to run out of real estate very quickly. Herod continues to press on here. They are letting the gaps open up behind him. Let's see now. So Scotty Weiss, then Herod, then Fleeman, Kershaw, and I think that's going to be Andy Turner sitting fifth wheel. So our series leader, Nathan, looks like he is in very good shape to hold on to that virtual race, or not the actual series lead here. Who's going to take the win out of this group? It's turning into an absolute Donnybrook here now. George Mills Keeling has fought back. So East Stellars has 2 riders in this group. Nathan, hit the reset button. These are the men. These are the gladiators of Zwift as we move into the absolute business end. Only the strong need apply now.
Yeah, it's going to be on a sprint to the line here in just a moment. It's actually, this climb is almost over. It's probably about, I'd say, 300, 400 meters to the line here. Walter Zwart on the attack, trying to go with Scotty Weiss. Scotty Weiss is going to sprint. Weiss is going to be gone, I think, at this point. They will not be catching Weiss. Pumps in 11 watts per kilogram. But Zwart here looking to come across. Fleeman, now you can see, I think it's a race for second place on the day, but this is going to be about GC standings. George Mills Keeling needs to hang on. Will Vyas be able to sprint out of here? 8 watts per kilogram. He's using the other riders here. Is Vyas waiting for a final kick? Fleeman looking to break with attrition here, Dave. As we do see, it looks like it's going to be Fleeman, 8 watts per kilogram, trying to go on, but it looks like Vyas here, 8.1, comes on through, but is it too early? Kershaw was waiting. Kershaw, 10 watts per kilogram as he sits in on the wheel of Vyas. Vyas does have a little bit of a gap, though, at this point. Absolute attrition. I believe it's going to be right as we stop climbing. Vyas might have done it as Kershaw tries to come across. Weiss takes it down, it looks like here, as Vyas makes it happen. Kershaw, Keeling, Herod. That's your finishing order. I know there's no line there, everybody, but you can see as they come out of the event and other riders start popping up around them, you can see, okay, race is over. Vyas makes it happen just behind Scotty Weiss. Scotty Weiss walks away with it here on the day. Vyas out of the group. And then from there, I believe we are going to see, we're going to wait for the results to pop on in here, as they are just about to populate. But Vyas showing us an amazing day out here, Dave. Dave, I've lost your audio here. Did you press a button?
I had Turner. sorry there. I had Turner not that far back, our series leader. So I think he definitely holds on to the lead, and I'm gonna guess he gives up. Well, there you go, 6 seconds, 5.5 that he gives up to Scotty Weiss, right? But let's
It
look a
looks
little
like he's got
closer.
about 3 seconds to Herod, but I
Right,
don't know if that's going to matter a whole lot in the overall.
that's
George Mills
that's
Keeling, though.
insignificant in the big
George Mills
picture.
Keeling, though, if we look at this here, Keeling is at 341.53. So
So
Keeling does bring back a little bit of time. Not nothing significant to Turner, but I mean
in all honesty, Andy Turner really weathers the storm out there. He gives up a few seconds to a couple guys. No big deal. No big deal at all. That's a great ride for Turner today.
100% good ride out there. Again, for those of you who are like, wait, where was the finish line? What are we talking about here? For in distance, when races are done by distance, the riders see a finish line. We, on the other hand, do not get to see the finish line. So they can see this blue banner across across the road. That's a virtual banner that gets set up in the race. So kind of similar if you've ever done workout mode out on Zwift. There's like a big blue translucent banner out there. But I'm going to see if how the chat came on through. Amazing kicks though all around. But I don't think anything's changing up again, as you were saying. You know, next week, though, it'll be interesting to see how things end up playing out. Let's go ahead and see what we have on board for next week for race number 7 in this series, as I think we are going to be out on. I wonder if they're going to change things up at all for this this next week of racing and have something that's going to be able to maybe, change it up a little bit on the GC. I'm taking a look here. It doesn't look like we got anything.
What course
scheduled
would
just
you
of yet.
use, Nathan? I'll put you on the spot. If you wanted to create just mayhem out there, would you go to Richmond? Just send them up and over Libby, 23rd and Governors over and over until.
I think like 5 laps on Richmond Short, Richmond Hilly, or something like that.
Right.
Not Richmond, usual, not the usual Richmond, not Richmond
there's too much
UCI.
flat.
Yeah,
too
not
much
Richmond
flat
UCI.
on the
If I
UCI
wanted to
course,
just cause absolute mayhem, it would be Richmond Hilly. So you take the left-hand turn before you head on over to the actual flatter sprint sections and just go right down into Industrial Park and right on into Libby Hill. 3, boom, 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 over the top of Governor, and then take another left and do it again. I mean, that would be and do it 5 times or something like that. That would be pure mountain bikers course, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm actually going to set that race up, and we're going to do it. That's what's going to end up happening. All right, let's take a look at what chat's having to say, and then we're going to be out of here, everybody. And we, again, USA Cycling tomorrow. Crit City next week. All right, cool little, almost finishing up on the Champs-Élysées. I mean, there's kind of like a cool little finish up here to a GC contention. Good to see.
Yeah, we're kind of wrapping up a bunch of our series right now. We'll be back with round 7 of 7 next week for the 3R Wahoo Ride Real Race Series. Big thank you to Wahoo as well. Really appreciate their support. USA Cycling is back, then WTR on Thursday. So action-packed week coming up. I'm stoked.
We're seeing a lot of chat coming through from the guys. Good to see. Oh, Nikki Hub, good to see you in the chat. Awesome to see one of the other top esports boys hanging out in the chat line. Vyas and saying, so I'm not so rusty. Good reminder. See you in a month. Sounds good. Hey, thanks a lot, Vyas. And we might see you sooner than that with some of the things that are coming down the line. We'll have some cool announcements. I don't know if you want to miss it, but good to see you out there, Lionel, for sure. Zach Herod saying too much draft for that one. Glinsky saying too much weight for me. All the classic excuses are coming out here. That's what us cyclists have about why we did not win on the day. And Andy Turner saying that was deeply unpleasant. And that's what we show up for out here, isn't it? So loving all the chat, guys. We'll be back tomorrow as usual for USA Cycling. We'll be covering the race in the afternoon, and I will be racing again in the evening to look to defend the series lead. Watch out for more announcements of what's coming through the month of July. If you haven't heard about it already, Tour de France with Zwift, but there's a lot more than just that. So be on the lookout, and lots of exciting stuff, guys. As always, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hit those follow buttons in all the places you like watching. I'm Nathan Garrett, Dave Toll, and we'll see you tomorrow. Right on.